The major arcana have been used in the media for quite a while. While they do have potential for interesting stories, I believe they are often misused. This is why I'm looking at Pacific Confidants in Persona 5 and seeing just how well they did their research. Persona 5 is a JRPG where you play as a high school student who moonlights as a phantom thief, stealing the twisted desires of evil people to turn them good. During the time when you're just a normal student, you can interact with confidants, whose stories all have a connection to a major arcana. I'll be focusing on Makoto Nijima's confidant for this video. Makoto Nijima is the academically achieved student council president at Chujin High School, currently living with her sister Sai Nijima, her sole caretaker after their father died. Sai finds raising her sister alone stressful, and Makoto feels like a burden and wants to pursue law in a prestigious university to become independent. This high standard had her act like the perfect student, which also caused her to be a pushover. She accidentally became a part of the Phantom Thieves, helping them bring down a mob boss who's blackmailing students into smuggling drugs. Her confidant is represented by the High Priestess, an arcana that symbolizes intuition and inner guidance, and a balance of the subconscious and conscious mind. Major arcanas can be read as upright and flipped. Upright is all the good qualities, and flipped is all the negative qualities. One of the interpretations of the reverse High Priestess is being blind to your intuition. For Makoto, while she is a very intuitive person, she completely ignored her gut feeling about things being wrong at the school, being so focused on her goal of going to a good school that a threat of not getting a letter of recommendation was enough for her not to ask questions. This is partially why she blames herself for what happened at the school, feeling that while she knew something was wrong and had every chance to attempt to do something about it, she chose not to. Here's the weird thing. Notice how I said one interpretation? The second one is better explained after some context of her confidant. Her confidant starts after the mob boss is arrested. Makoto outright admits that she knew nothing about the other students, believes this to be a reason why the blackmailing schemes had gotten so bad before she even knew about them. She faults herself for being narrow-minded. She asks Ren for places that are frequently visited by other students to help broaden her horizon. After Ren decides that the arcade is the perfect spot to start, they head over to the nearest one. Makoto has fun with her shooting game. Pew pew! She understands that this is just one of many ways people can pass time. Right now in the link, Makoto is still in the reverse position. However, it is transitioning towards the High Priestess in the upright position. The transition fully starts after a trip to the arcade. Her true reason for inviting Ren to hang out with her. She plans to visit the red light district in Shinjuku after hearing that students were visiting there. This is right after a whole ordeal with students being blackmailed, so it makes sense that she'd be worried about what could potentially happen there. While asking around Shinjuku for eyewitness accounts, she notices one of her classmates entering a sketchy place called the After School Salon. Recognizing the girl that walked in, she decides it would be best to ask her about this during school. Besides Ren and Mamiya, who has little importance, and Makoto Nijima, the High Priestess Confidant link introduces two more characters as it continues. The next time Makoto meets up with Ren, they are properly introduced to Aiko Tako, who works as a maid in the after-school salon in Shinjuku and claims that nothing inappropriate happens there. And after Makoto asks her if she's working there because of financial troubles, she said that she only works there to make some extra spending money for herself. During their brief exchange, she gets distracted and notices Makoto's pencil case, a beat-up thing with the markings of an old mascot called Buchimaru-kun on it. She's shocked by how childish it is. I will admit the first time, I expected her to berate Makoto for this, but no. They both somehow bond over this, with it giving Aiko a rush of nostalgia to her childhood collection. She becomes enamored and admits that she would have described Makoto as a robot before knowing about this, but is pleasantly surprised to know that there's more to her. They exchange numbers and Makoto makes a new friend. How wonderful. The reverse High Priestess is also the imbalance of the heart and mind. The imbalance with Makoto is that she's letting outside influence control how she acts more than what she feels is right for her. There are times when she is too conscious of her actions to notice how she truly feels about a situation. Her friendship with Aiko pushes this into her face. While Aiko is an airhead, she at the very least knows what she wants and why she wants it. When Aiko had asked Makoto why it was so important that either of them go to a good college, Makoto couldn't answer. For the longest time, she had strived for excellence because it was expected of her. She didn't let herself actually determine if it was right for her. It's just, after everything that has happened to her, she realized that this isn't what she wanted, but was so focused on what she had to do to get there, that she just started to go through the motions of life. And now she's unsure of why she's working so hard in school. While speaking with Ren about this, Makoto self-reflects on why she chose to be a lawyer. Her father was a police officer who chose to bring justice to the world, and Makoto found that admirable. She had dreamed of being an officer as a kid. Then her father was a victim of a hit and run, and Makoto decided to pursue law to help her sister. And that strict dream caused her to become an amazing student. So she thought nothing of it, and continued to listen to the advice of those around her. By the time the Confidant had started, she was already in the positive position of the High Priestess when it came to listening to the inner voice. The other part about balance is why this Confidant exists. When she found out about Tsukasa, she realized that this time she had a chance to stop a horrible event before it was too late. Unlike last time when she believed others when they said nothing was wrong, she let herself trust her intuition and investigate what Tsukasa's true motivation for Aiko is. He only ever calls her princess, never once using her real name, he always asks for money, and he's constantly texting Makoto after her number is given to him. All of these are warning signs of a bad relationship. But Aiko completely ignores it because her heart tells her it'll be alright. Makoto won't have that. Wanting to protect Aiko from Tsukasa, Makoto goes around Shibuya asking around about him. This time she's able to get a witness testimony of what Tsukasa does to girls. She hears from a local promoter that Tsukasa is infamous in the area for a scam. What's even worse is that he is part of a criminal gang. Makoto has Aiko meet her there to tell her what her boyfriend is truly like, warning her that if this keeps up, it could elevate to something terrible happening. Aiko refuses to believe her, ignoring the claims of a witness, thinking it's just a rumor. Makoto tries to get her to listen by telling Aiko about all the texts she gets from Tsukasa. This gets Aiko angry, and now she misinterprets Makoto's actions as a jealous girl who wants to swoop in after she breaks up and have Tsukasa all to herself. She makes an excuse that she planned on meeting Tsukasa at his club. Before Aiko can get far, Tsukasa arrives to pick her up and asks Aiko if he made her wait. Aiko tells him what happened, and he claims it's all just crap from a jealous woman. He says that she is his only princess, his first mistake. Makoto, hearing this, demands that he calls Aiko by her real name. He says that of course he would know. I mean, his princess had just texted him. He calls her Makoto. Makoto then points out that she had texted Tsukasa to meet them there, disguising her text to further look like it came from Aiko by flourishing in emojis. Makoto then points out that this is because Tsukasa has so many girls he dates, he only ever called them princess to not mix their names up, and in fact probably can't remember names anymore. The definitive proof that Tsukasa is no good, a real chance for Aiko to break up with him. Aiko still defends him, claiming that Tsukasa is all she has. After a hard smack, Makoto tells her to stop lying to herself, to face the facts of what is happening. Aiko breaks down and cries, and claims that he cares about her, that he is the only person to ever want to listen to her. Thinks that the perfect student like Makoto wouldn't understand what she is going through. This girl was so starved for affection that she let herself be scammed even when the red flags were this obvious. I think this is why she took her job in the first place, for the attention. The sad thing is, I'm certain that she's been sexually harassed at her job. It's not that she doesn't know what's happening to her, it's that she's so starved for any outside connection that she undermines it. Makoto says that she can't let someone like Tsukasa ruin people's lives. Tsukasa calls her a bitch and wants to fight her. Makoto could kill him, but today was his lucky day. He's scared off and an upset Aiko leaves too, refusing to acknowledge what happened. Her link concludes after she had spoken with Aiko previously. Aiko quit her job and broke up with Tsukasa and is now getting serious with her studies and plans on going to college again. Makoto knows that she wants to continue her studies, this time for her own personal goals. She now wants to become a chief of police. an extension of her childhood goal of becoming a cop, this time with the knowledge of what power she needs to negate crime at the source. She wishes to expose the evils in the shadows and eradicate crime altogether and rescue the victims of it. She knows that position requires an astute academic background. Overall, I think Makoto's Confidant is great at intertwining the High Priestess Arcana into it. I will admit, like most people who first witnessed this link, I didn't like Aiko. She seemed like such a waste. This is supposed to be Makoto Nijima's Confidant. While going over the link again, I had a realization. I think Aiko was put into Makoto's link, not to fill in space, but more to as a counter lesson. Makoto's lesson is that she needs to listen to her heart and do what she wants to do more. Aiko is that she needs to understand that her feelings don't necessarily make the right decisions, which further relates to the idea of the High Priestess. I like the idea of Makoto learning to listen to the world around her and combine it with her personal values. It's a mature revelation to know that just because your goals aren't realistic, that doesn't mean you can't compromise to still make yourself happy. Her choosing to be a chief of police, it's a combination of her wanting to protect others and eradicate crime, while also knowing what is needed to actually accomplish that. I can honestly say that this Confidant uses the High Priestess correctly. I do appreciate that you took time to watch my video, thank you so much, and I hope you look forward to the next one.